So, this is a topic I've been wanting to discuss for a while now, and that is how to behave as a nomad. Basically, don't be a jerk. The reason I think it's important to discuss this is that it's getting more and more difficult to find places to stay, especially in towns. A lot of counties are basically passing ordinances outlawing overnight camping on streets and in parking lots. So I spent a lot. I spent 6 months in San Luis Obispo. The entire county has an ordinance against overnight camping on the street. I found one spot at a Home Depot that does allow parking in their spot. Other spots you can kind of get away with, maybe for a night or two, but you do risk getting the knock. And I actually got a ticket. So, and I think when I was coming up to Mendocino, I was going through Sonoma County, and from what I could tell, the entire county also has ordinance against overnight camping. That you cannot park anywhere on the streets. You can't camp on the streets anywhere overnight in Sonoma County. And a lot of counties all over the country are becoming that way, especially in California. And one of the reasons is I think a lot of nomads are just being jerks. They're being difficult, they're being noisy, and people don't want people like that in their neighborhoods. They don't want them around. They don't feel comfortable, it decreases the value of their property. And so I want to discuss a few things about basically how to behave yourself being a nomad, how not to be a dick. Number 1, be quiet. Don't when you park, don't don't blast your music. If you're watching a movie or TV show, don't have the volume up really high. If you're in a neighborhood, don't have your doors open. Don't, when you're making a lot of noise, or don't put your stuff out. Be quiet. Be stealth. That's the meaning behind the word stealth. Be quiet. Just park, go to bed, watch TV, whatever you want to do, listen to music, whatever you want to do, but keep it down. Be quiet. Don't bother people who live there. Don't bother people around there. Be considerate of people living in their homes. Like, think about before you left your house, if you're currently a nomad, or if you're thinking about becoming a nomad, think about where you're living now. How would you feel if someone parked in front of your house and was blaring music all night long? Or had their windows open and were talking, and just blah, 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 and you can hear them talking. How would that make you, that piss you off? You'd probably call the cops or walk up there and yell at them. Don't do that to them. Be quiet. Be considerate. Number 2, don't just dump your garbage anywhere, and definitely, definitely, definitely do not litter. Don't throw garbage out your window or out your door or on the street. And don't dump your garbage where you're not allowed to. Find dumpsters where you're allowed to dump. They are out there. You can find them. Might be a little hard, but you can find them. And one thing you can actually set on your filter in iOverlander app is, where can you dump garbage? People put up there. You can dump your garbage here. You can dump your garbage there. If you go somewhere and you want to dump your garbage and there's a sign saying no dumping, don't dump. They're serious about that. There's a grocery store in Bend, Oregon, that had a sign saying no dumping, $500 fine, and there were cameras right there watching you. But just don't do it. Don't do it. Find a place where you can dump your garbage that allows you to dump your garbage. And sometimes you can go to a restaurant or a store and be like, hey, I have a small bag of garbage. Can I just throw it in your dumpster? And they'll say yes, or they'll say no. They say yes, great, go for it. They say no, respect that and don't do it. That means you got to keep a bag of garbage in your van or your vehicle until you find a place to dump it. Then that's what you got to do. That's part of van life. Van life is not always going to be clean and wonderful without issue. Sometimes you're going to be a little dirty and things might smell for a bit. Number 3, don't overstay your welcome. Find out how long you're allowed to stay somewhere. There's a spot in, I believe, Atascadero in California near San Luis Obispo. It was a park and ride, and they would allow people to park overnight. Well, a friend of mine told me, he lives there, and he says there were about 3 RVs that were parked there for like 3 or 4 months straight. They had the awnings out. They had their furniture out. They literally set up camp over there for like 3 to 4 months straight. And the cops finally had to come and say, you can't stay here anymore. You have to leave. And then they changed. They put a big sign up saying, no overnight parking. Perfectly good spot to park overnight. They ruined it. So don't overstay your welcome. That Home Depot I told you about, don't stay there for like 2 or 3 weeks or a month. I saw people who were there for probably I would notice them being there for like 5 or 7 days. I was there a few nights a week because it was kind of a far drive from where I work, so I wasn't always there. But when I went there to sleep. I went there at night, went to sleep. In the morning, I left. But if you find a spot like that, don't stay there for a month or 2 months. Don't overstay. Don't do it. If you have to be in a certain area for a long time, like I am, find different places to go. Find like 4 or 5 different spots and switch up throughout the week. Maybe stay in one spot a couple nights and then don't go back there for another 4 or 5 nights. You can be irregular, but don't be regular every single night. Now, obviously, if it's a place where they're like, you can totally park here all you want, as long as you want, we don't care, go for it. But again, same here in Fort Bragg. You can park in one spot for up to 72 hours, and then you have to move. Don't overstay your welcome. Stay there. If you got to stay there, stay put for a while, stay put for 3 days, and then go somewhere else. Be considerate. Don't make yourself part of the scenery. Nobody wants that. Number 4, properly dispose of your waste. And I'm talking about your toilet. Now, depending on what kind of toilet you have, I have a luggable loo, so everything is in a garbage bag, and I need to find a dumpster to dump it in. And again, same as the last one, find a dumpster that I'm allowed to dump it. And do a dumpster. Don't do like a public trash can, because people have to come by and empty those, and it's kind of gross that you got a bag of waste sitting in there they got to pick up and haul out of there. Find a dumpster, a big dumpster, toss it in there. That way the garbage truck comes and dumps it in. No one's got to open that flap and smell the stink. No one's got to move anything around. Just so, again, dispose of it properly and right. Don't dump on the ground. If you have a pee bottle like I do what I do. Go to public bathrooms. Sometimes you got to put the bottles into a bag and carry it in a bag. Be a little, if you're going to like a grocery store. But if you're in a campground or public, like an outdoor public bathroom, walk in there, dump your pee in the toilet. Dump your bag of waste in a proper dumpster. Don't dump your pee on the side of the road. Don't dump it in the bushes. That's going to stink, and that's going to piss people off. People don't want that crap on their streets. They don't want to smell it. They don't want to see it there. And the last thing they want to do is watch you walk around the bag of poo, find a place to dump it. So, again, find out where you can dump it. Find the dumpster that's where you can properly, and you're allowed to dump it. Be stealth about it. My garbage bags are black or gray. They are not transparent at all. They're completely opaque. So if anyone sees me, they just see me walk around with a small bag. They might know what I'm doing, but it's not obvious. I actually a couple times had a white bag, which was sort of transparent, and you could tell what I was carrying, and that was gross, and it was really weird. I'm like, I had to be really careful where I was and how I dumped it out, because if you saw me, it was pretty clear what I had in my hand, and that's gross. Again, don't give people the wrong idea about nomads. Don't make them think that we're all dirty, gross, disgusting people that they don't want around. We want to become that. We want to have that kind of lifestyle where people eventually will just say, oh, they're nomads. Cool. Oh, there's an RV or a van or whatever parked over there. Cool. They must be traveling around. Good for them. We don't want to be parked somewhere and people go, oh, not those scumbags again. And finally, don't be obvious. I kind of touched on this before when I talked about those RVs that are parked at the park and ride. Don't put your awning out. Don't put your chairs out. That is for campgrounds. That is for vista areas that aren't parking lots. You can pull off the side of the road and maybe, put your awning up or put a chair out for a little while, enjoy the view. But if you're stealth parking in town in a parking lot somewhere, don't put your awning out. Don't put your chairs out. I mean, I'll have my doors open to get some fresh air in occasionally, But for the most part, they're just cracked open. They're not. I'm not taking up another spot. If someone parks next to me, I'm not gonna be like, just like they might see a door cracked open and that's it. And I'm just keeping myself to myself. Don't make it obvious that you are living in your van. That's another thing people don't like. They don't want to see that, oh, there's someone living in their van, because a lot of these people, they have the wrong idea about van lifers. They think that we're all homeless weirdos and they basically don't want homeless people in their area. We're not homeless. We have tiny homes on wheels. That's what we are. And we travel and we live a minimal lifestyle. But again, don't make it obvious what you're doing. Just, especially if you're stealth camping in town, just park. Even if your van is obviously a camper van, even if you have like solar panels on top and like a roof deck, and I don't know, even if it's obvious your van is a camper van, you have an RV or a truck camper, again, don't make it obvious. Don't set up camp in the middle of town. Just be quiet, be discreet, be stealth, be aware of your surroundings. And again, think to yourself, if I lived here, if I shopped here, would I want to see that? How would I feel if I saw that outside my home or in the parking lot? Would I want to go to Safeway and come out of the store and see a van with an awning out and chairs set up taking up 2 parking spots? No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to be coming home and seeing someone parked in the street with their awning out and their chairs set up on my street. I don't want to see that either. You want to park stealth and be quiet on my street? Have at it. I don't care. When I get a home, I will never call the cops on anyone who's parked in the street unless they're being a pain in the ass, unless they're being annoying, unless they are being noisy and causing problems. So again, just don't be obvious about it. That's the thing. That's our lifestyle. We need to be discreet and be stealth and just park. Don't make a mess. Don't make a fuss. So that's my short little, I don't know how long this is, how long this will wind up being. But yeah, that's what I've got to say about that. That is my personal opinion. You can agree or disagree if you want to. But I mean, I see so many nomads out there, and I'm just like, what are you doing? You're ruining it for the rest of us. Don't do that. So we got to be careful. We live a very fringe lifestyle, and a lot of people don't understand it and don't like it and don't want it to exist. They don't want us there. So if you want to maintain places to park, if you want to make sure that you've got places to stay and choices and variety of places you can stay, don't be the kind of person that make them want to say, you know what, we don't want you here anymore. We're passing a law. You can't park anymore. Just don't do it. Be cool. All right. I probably repeated myself a lot in this video, but I think a lot of things bear repeating. So thanks again a lot, you guys, for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the like button. If there's anything I didn't mention in this video that you think is important about how nomads should behave, leave it in the comments. Let me know. And also, if you want to help me out some more, if you're not a Patreon member, you can join my Patreon. $4 a month or $8 a month. You get early access and Patreon exclusive content that no one else will ever see unless they're a Patreon member. So, and next year I'm going to do a lot more Patreon exclusives, a lot more information will be coming through about me that will not be available on YouTube. So, hit up. It's cheap. $4 a month, $8 a month. You can't beat that. Price of a couple of lattes at Starbucks. So, thanks again for watching, you guys. Have a great one. Be well.